We've built a simple pie chart. Let's go ahead and format that chart so that it looks pretty. There are lots of different things that I can do to format a chart. Most of what we do to the pie chart would also apply to a column chart, a bar chart, area chart. So the different chart types, all the formatting happens all the same way. It's just that different chart types will give you different options of things to format. The first thing I'm going to do is just click on my chart, and I can tell that I'm on the chart because the little circles going around the edge show up, and those are, we call those handles, and I could grab those and resize my chart, which we talked about already in the previous video. But that tells me also that my chart is selected. When my chart is selected, a couple of other things happen. Notice that I have these little quick format buttons on the side that I can use. Also on the ribbon, I have two new buttons. So on this tab bar, I have Design and Format. And let's go ahead and click on the Design button. And then right away, there are two buttons here that you might care about a good bit. Though this Add Chart button or Add Chart element isn't too different from what happens if I click this plus sign. So here I can add and remove chart elements just by clicking on them. So if I wanted to add data labels, I can come here and just click on it, and then this little pull out would let me format them. But what I'd like to do first is actually go to Quick Layout, and then notice that I can roll over these different pre-built options of things that you might want to do as far as formatting your chart. And I'm going to start here and get close and then modify everything from there. So layout 1 is what I want for my pie. And so I'll click that, and it automatically modified my pie. So now I have data labels, and then the ones that don't fit are in a pull-out off to the side here. And so that's a good start. Now, if I want to format some things, I can also do that. I'm going to click on this Format button, and then choose Format Selection on the ribbon. And that pops in this sidebar, and I love this sidebar because it's context sensitive, which means whatever I click on in my chart, it's going to come up on the sidebar and say, now you're formatting that particular thing. And then I have lots and lots of options here on how to format that. So here I'm going to click the chart area, and the chart area is the area of my chart that doesn't have any chart in it. So basically, format chart area, I can click the title, format chart title. I can click my pie, format data series. I can click one of my data labels, and here's format data labels. So just lots of options that I can just click on what I want to change, and then come over here to the right side of my chart and change it. Good. Now I'm missing my legend. When I chose this style, the legend disappeared. So I'm going to go to my plus sign here, chart elements, and just turn it back on. And then when I turn it on, I also have a pull out to the right. So I'm going to click that, and this is going to say, where do you want your legend to show up? Do you want it on the right? Do you want it on the top? Do you want it on the left? Do you want it on the bottom? I'm going to go ahead and put my legend on the bottom, so I will just click bottom, and now my legend is here, and I can work with that as well. Let me click somewhere on my sheet and then back on my chart so that I can close that little box that showed up. The first thing I think I want to do is rotate this pie so that this pullout isn't right up here up against my heading. To rotate your pie, you just click on the pie itself, and notice that when I clicked on it, it says Format Data Series. If you double click or click too many times, it will actually choose one of the slices or wedges of your pie, and then it will say Format Data Point. That's not what we want. If you get there, just click on the chart area and come back and click the pie again so that it says Format Data Series. Perfect. Now, under Series Options, I'm going to choose the three little bars that look like a column chart, and then here we have Angle of First Slice, and I can just start clicking here and changing those angles, and notice that it's rotating my pie, which is what I want, because I want to rotate that entertainment slice enough that my that wedge is not up into the heading. So that looks good right there. I ended up at 123 degrees, and now that that wedge is sticking down, and it just looks better with the call out down here as opposed to up against my title. So I'm happy with that. Let's clean up the title. So I'm going to click on the title and double click to choose the text because I want to delete that and type in my own title, which is going to be budget expenses and then January. And I like that. So I can just click off of it, and now my title is changed. I do want to show you that we can do a lot with colors and changing the look of our chart. I'm going to start with my chart area, so I'm clicking out here in the chart area, and then I just want to work through these things so you can see what they do. So I'm going to start with the paint can, and notice that as you click different items here, you'll get pullouts, and you can click on them and then they'll open up and you'll get more stuff underneath them. So under the paint can, I had fill and border already open, but you can just open and close these. Let's choose fill, and I want to change the background of my pie chart. And I can do that with a solid fill. So here I chose solid fill, and then your color is over here on the side. So whatever color happens to be there, you can change that color really easily by changing this color chip. So here's my fill color, and then notice that under these colors there's more colors. So I could actually open up more colors, and then we have standard colors, so there's a bunch of different standard colors to choose from. Plus we have custom, where you can go in here and enter the RGB numbers. But here would be, I can enter how much red, how much green, how much blue is in my color, and I can also click around up here in this palette and choose a different background color and say OK, and then that would come in, and now I'm using that color. I'm going to go back to the light yellow. I like that. I can also use a gradient fill. With gradient fill, you can see that you get a color change that goes across your chart, and there are preset gradients. So here I can pull this down, and notice that you can choose where the lighter section is, whether it's on the bottom or the top. And then if you change this from linear to radial, and then go back to your presets, that'll change how things look too. And you can also change, let me change, so we have linear, radial, rectangular, and path. I'm on radial. You can choose the direction. So here I can choose from the center, or I can choose from one of the corners. I can also choose the colors of my gradient, so I'm rolling down some, and each of these little color chips is changeable. So I'm clicking that one, and now this color is available, and I'm going to go with a lighter green. That might have been too light. Let's go just a little bit darker, and I kind of like that. But I could actually change it to yellow if I wanted, or another color. So there would be with yellow. That's not bad either. I can also change my beginning gradient and my center gradient stop. There are pre-built gradient stops as well that you can choose from. That would be this preset gradient here. Let's go back up to our list. We could also use a picture or texture fill. So there are some pre-built textures that you can pick from. That's under this texture box. Here's the famous, it looks like I just waxed my car texture. Most of these, some of them are kind of okay, but most of them I tend to not use these very often. Let's go back to our gradient fill because I just think that looks better. By the way, I can import a picture. So let me jump to importing a picture. So let's make our background a file. So I'm going to choose file, and I'll go to my downloads, and here's a picture of my cats, and now they are the background. And to be honest, that looks terrible. And I also want to give a caution on using pictures for the background. And the caution is this, that depending on the contrast in the picture, your text could disappear. Notice that this is hard to read down here because it's a dark font going over the dark tail of the kitten, and it just makes it hard to read. In addition, it's not a good idea to use lots of pictures that would distract from the chart itself. Before I had the kittens in the background, you were looking at this going, oh, look, there's expenses, and I can see what percentage roughly of the budget the expenses are. Now I'm looking at it going, why are there kittens on my chart? So just be careful that if you're using pictures that it makes sense and that it doesn't distract from what your chart is trying to say. Let's go back to gradient fill. That looks better. Quickly, I want to show you that we can also do pattern fills. That isn't bad either. I kind of like that. I'm going to keep the gradient fill for now, but we do have these pattern fills that they can look really sharp. So back to gradient fill, and that's looking pretty good.